congrats though on getting, Nick Calandra to be on your show. I think that's a big step. Like I was saying before, a lot of people, I saw people saying, people are like, oh, it's a waste of time. Blah, blah, blah. I don't agree with that at all. I thought it was very good. And I thought it kind of exposes the mindset of people who are on that particular side. And you can only really get to that part where you actually have a conversation. So that's good. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it's good that he came on. It's something that, and I told him this afterwards. I said, look, man, we don't have to agree on much, but I respect you for coming on and having the courage to talk. And that's something that the vast majority of people from that perspective, like that's the thing is he's getting it. He showed me receipts afterwards. Like right now he's getting it from, from the mainstream traditional access media, and he's getting it from YouTubers. Him coming on, the people are like, how could you dare talk to them? How could you even think about going on a show? You can't have discussions. And like, that's exactly the problem, is that there's people who are being like, I can't believe you'd have that conversation. But man, like him having it's a net win for the overall gaming community for him to come on and have that conversation. Did it go great for him? I don't think so. Did it go great for us? I don't know. But you're having these conversations in real time, and there's people like, well, you should have pushed him on this, or you should have did this. And it's like, you're just I'm trying to organize my thoughts and listen to what he's saying while thinking about where to go next with it. And, when you do this stuff in real time, it's never going to go perfect. And, it's never going to be this, flawless discussion. Not. And yeah, I think that's the other thing is like, this wasn't meant to be a debate. People are like, you can't debate these people. It's like, but you can have a discussion. I didn't bring Nick on to have a debate. I brought him on because number one, I didn't think he'd come on, which once again, to his credit, he did.
Did you know that he was going to come on, or was it like a midstream surprise?
No, we were talking. Well, what he did was he was bashing, the Real Game Awards. And so he was talking shit about that. And so I was like, well, dude, how about you just come on the show? And if you're going to once again, I would love to, I'd rather talk with people than about people. Right. And it's the same. If somebody has a critical, somebody's going to be a critic of me. Okay, great. Right. That's fine. But I'd much rather you go to me directly about it instead of like snide comments online. Right. We're all grown-ups here. That's the most amazing thing about this is like,
100%,
and, so I thought the conversation went pretty well. Some people were like, well, we went round and round. And yeah, I mean, when you have these conversations, there are certain things that I don't think Nick wanted to say, because I think he would ostracize himself from his friends group. And, it kind of is what it is. But so
it kind of goes into how you started the conversation though, too, because it's amazing. You can tell his body language, and I mention this all the time, but you could tell he seems nervous to be there. For whatever reason. I do believe that he is getting it from his side. I don't have to even see receipts to believe that, because like I can understand the meltdown that's probably happening, because these are the same people that will block you just for simply seeing something that they didn't like. So what makes you think they're going to want to go on a live stream, especially on someone else's platform, right? It's not like he's batting on home base here. Like he's going on your platform to speak to you, surrounded by 3 other people. So it's not exactly the easiest thing to do.
No, not at all. And like I said, I commend him for doing that, And then you got like, okay, so like, I know, I just see this tweet right now from Andy Cortez, right? He's kind of funny, right? And I know Andy, right? And he's saying, well, if you're angry at the games industry for being too woke, I think you're a dummy. If you fall for the right wing grift and allow someone to profit off your anger, the grifter thinks you're a dummy too. Don't be a dummy. So once Mike, and I'm assuming he's talking about me, because this is pretty much all their group has been talking about all day, right? Yeah. So number one, like I'm not making that's the thing that people don't understand about this, and that I don't know if I can be any more clear about this. Nobody's making money on this at all, right? All we're saying is if you come in and if you become a member of the Real Game Awards, your money will go to fund the show. And like, that's what people don't understand about this is And I've said this multiple times over the past, over the past day or so. The person who put this best is 100% Mark the Cyborg, who was on our board. And he nailed it when he said, like, look, this is either funded by, this is either member funded or it's a marketing event. And this is not going to be a marketing event. And that's not what this is designed to be. It's designed to be an event for gamers by gamers. So there you go. It's, people will take it and they'll run with it. But as long as they're talking about it, who the fuck cares?
But the only thing I don't like is that he made it seem he paints a different picture, right, on Twitter. So like on Twitter, he's a lot more aggressive. He goes with the typical, like, if you spoke to him on Twitter only, you would think he's no different than Alyssa Mercante, just complete and utter, leftist psychopath. And then he comes on your show and he's like, well, nervous, whatever. But then he's like, oh, I'm a moderate. I'm I don't take sides. I don't want to be in. The one thing I couldn't stand is when he said I didn't want to be part of any circle. That's like, that's an obvious lie, my guy, because you call out people on our side left and right all day, but then you never once call out any of them. You never press her on anything. And you want to say you want the antagonizing nature to stop, but you're part of the antagonization. And then you support the people who are maximum at antagonizing people. Like that's all they do. That's all she does. So I don't understand this mindset. But again, this is from someone who I don't think he was being very genuine, but I do respect him for actually going on. And I always will. It's the same thing with like Director X when that happened. I always respect people that will actually have a conversation. But if he gets, I would be very curious to see what the public narrative is going to be on their particular side. Whether or not they're going to stay quiet over the fact that he went on your show. Are they going to publicly like crucify him for going on your show? I mean, I haven't seen anything.
Oh yeah, yeah.
But I gotta imagine it's gonna get very interesting over the next couple of days because the fact that he even went on your show, it's gonna be a meltdown for sure.
No, for sure. And that's the crazy thing about it is, right. Like I just put a link in your private chat, and this guy's, check it out. You look at it and he's saying, you don't need to go on these podcasts and to debate these clowns. It's like, no, first off, once again, nobody's debating anybody. Then it's just a hive mind understands like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. Don't be on that. Like, and, Nick sent me this tweet directly. And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm getting it from everywhere, just from appearing on the show. So, people say, well, how come you didn't press on certain things? Well, okay, admittedly, something that I may have been able to press on. I may not have thought of it at the time, but the bigger thing is that, like, look, if somebody comes on your show and you skewer them, right, and you make them feel like an idiot, you look like an idiot. It's a short-term game. It's a short-term game because ultimately, what's going to happen is the next person you ask to come on your show will say no, right? Because they're going to say, "Look what you did to Nick Calandra," right? And that nobody wins from that. You got to think of this long term. Like you can have you can get your points or your wins, but if you come in here and skewer somebody like a lamb, nobody gains anything out of it. The conversation stops. And despite what these people think, at the end of the day, Side Scrollers is built around having conversation. We want to have conversation. It's just, and that's what made today so fun was that we actually were able to have that conversation.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, there was only one thing that I thought you should have pressed them on. I already forgot what it was, but that's it. There was one thing I thought you should have followed up on a question, but otherwise, I mean, it's been handled pretty damn well, I would imagine. And again, it's hard, like you said, and I know because I was there. In that situation, it's hard to, or I should say, it's a lot easier to when you're the outside looking in to say, okay, you should have did this, should have did that. But I think that it's not necessarily about skewering someone. Because for me, when I'm having a discussion, right, a lot of people seem to make discussion and debate synonymous with each other, right. And they're not, right? They're not supposed to be synonymous. Like they're two different things, right? A debate, you're literally just arguing points and you're trying to see who's going to be the one that can prove, whatever point better. With a discussion, it's just a back and forth. It's a dialogue that, yeah, you might bring up some points every now and then, but you're still just having a dialogue. But I think that with someone like Nick Calandra, to press him a little bit wouldn't necessarily be a skewer. I just think that it's more like, okay, you can ask him certain questions that you know that once he answers them, he's kind of skewering himself. And if people think that, oh, well, if look what you did to Nick. Well, I didn't do anything. I just asked some questions.
Yeah, but we both know that's not how they see it, right?
No, not at all.
They see it as he went on the show, you made him look bad. I'm never going to come on your show, right? And like we've invited Mercante on. You know, that was actually how this whole thing kicked off. It's like we invited Mercante on after she wrote that article, and you know, she was like, no, you know, she didn't even like,
yeah,
you know, provide any sort of cordial response. And
there's one thing I did catch though that I kind of want to I want to bring up. I find interesting. So these people on Twitter, and the chat knows I said this. They're on Twitter all the time, and there's one thing they're always saying, and the thing they're always saying is that they don't watch our content. They don't partake in the rage bait, or they don't watch, you know, hate watch, whatever. But then he openly admitted on your stream that he watches your shows. So it makes me wonder how much of it's bullshit from all the other people that claim, because I think they all watch personally.